Name of assignment using the payback method, IRR, and MPV. My name is Cristobal Verrier. Introduction. I will be going over the advantages and disadvantages of internal rate of return, net present value, and payback method. I will also be discussing calculations and a project of cash flows. Advantages of internal rate of return, which is also IRR, net present value, which is also NPV, and payback method. Advantages of IRR. It considers the time value of money. The profitability of the project is considered over the entire economic life of the project. There's no need for predetermination of cost of capital or cutoff rate. It gives much importance to objective of maximizing shareholders' wealth. Advantage of MPV. It is a direct measure of the dollar contribution to the stockholders. Calculations used for long-term investments. It helps with increasing the value of the organization, and it will dictate the outlook of the project and how much output it will produce. It also takes into account the basic idea that a future dollar is worth less than a dollar today. Payback method. 2 years is particularly the cutoff date for the project to receive profitability. The payback method helps with making quick decisions for the projects. It helps with quick evaluations of projects with small investments. Disadvantages of internal rate of return, net present value, and payback method. Disadvantages of IRR. This method gives importance only to profitability but does not consider the earliest recouping of capital expenditures. It involves tedious calculations, does not do well with multiple projects being involved simultaneously. Smaller projects look more appealing compared to the larger projects, which can mislead because the bigger project can bring more cash flows and profitability. Disadvantages of net present value. It does not measure the size of the project, the value of the project cost, and the amount of the future project has to be predicted. Also, the amount of income that will be received by the project. Expressed in dollar amount, which does not always translate into higher profits. The NPV and IRR may differ when evaluating a project because of size, life, and timing of cash flows. Disadvantages of the payback method. Ignores the time value of money. A project can have acceptable rate of return and still not meet the payback criteria. Does not consider cash flows for a project that may occur after the initial investment has been recovered. Cash flow from projects may be irregular with most of the funds not recurring well into the future. Calculations. Calculation number one, if you see it says, if you want to accumulate $500,000 in 20 years, how much do you need to deposit today? That pays an interest rate of 15%. This is the answer. So as you can see, I wrote it out on a piece of paper and I figured it out. And as you can see, I put future value equals 500,000 equals PV parentheses 1 plus 15% close parentheses to the power of 20. And then broke it down. Again, 500,000 equals PV. And after you do the calculations inside the parentheses, you get 16.366. Then I brought it down again. As you can see, I put 500,000 equals 16.366 PV, and then I divided 500,000 to the 16.366, and I got 30,551.14. Calculation 2, it says, what is the future value if you plan to invest 200,000 for 5 years and the interest rate is 5%? As you can see, for my answer that I wrote out, same thing, future value equals 200,000, parentheses, 1 plus 5%, close parentheses to the power of 5. Next step, I put future value equals 200,000. I solve for inside the parentheses, and you see that's 1.27628. And when you multiply those two together, you get 255,256. Calculation 3. It says, what is the interest rate for initial investment of 100,000 that grows to 300,000 in 10 years? As you can see my calculations, I wrote it out as well. And then I put the 300,000 equals 100,000, parentheses 1 plus R divided by 100, close parentheses to the power of 10. I dropped that as well. As you can see, 300,000 equals 100,000, and I divided the 100,000 to both sides. and then I got 3 equals parentheses 1 plus divided 1 plus r divided by 100 to the power of 10. I want to get the parentheses out and the power of 10, so I had to take the square root of 10 on both sides. That gives me 1.1161 equals 1 plus r divided by 100. I'm still trying to solve for r, so I subtract 1 on both sides. I get 0.1161 equals r divided by 100. Then I multiplied 100 by both sides, and r equals 11.61. For calculation 4, you see it says if your company purchases an annuity that will pay $50,000 per year for 10 years at 11% discount rate, what is the value of the annuity of the purchase date if the first annuity payment is made on the date of the purchase? So I solved for that, and as you can see, I wrote out PV equals 50,000 times. I put a bracket, and then I put 1 minus, and then the parentheses with 1 plus 11% close parentheses to the negative power of 10 close bracket divided by 11%. And then as I broke it down, you see I put 50,000, and then I still have the bracket and then 1 minus, but then I solve for what's inside the parentheses, which is 0.35218 divided by 11% close bracket. Then after that, I put 50,000 times. I solved for what's inside the bracket, and that provided me with 5.88927273. When you multiply that to the 50,000, you get 294,463 with 63. For calculation number 5, it says, what is the rate of return required to accumulate 400,000 if you invest 10,000 per year for 20 years? The small payments are made at the end of the period. So I did my calculations here, and as you can see, I wrote out 400,000 equals 10,000, parentheses 1 plus r divided by 100 to the power of 20. Then I divided the 10,000 on both sides, and then I got 40 equals parentheses 1 plus r divided by 100 to the power of 20. I took the square root of 20 on both sides. That gave me 1.202549 equals 1 plus r divided by 100. I subtract 1 to both sides. That gave me 0.202549 equals r divided by 100. Then I multiplied the 100 by both sides to get r by itself, and r is 20.25. Now for the project of cash flows, you can see there's 2 projects, Project A and Project B. The initial investment for Project A is 10,000. And then when you see year 1, 2, and 3, you see that 5,000 was the earnings. Now as far as Project B, 55,000 was the initial investment there. And for 1, 2, and 3, as far as years, they recouped 20,000 each year. The required payback is always 2 years, and the discount rate is 10%. As you can see, after doing the calculations, the payback period for Project A is acceptable. The payback for Project B is not, because it's taking longer than the 2 years. The net present value for Project A is positive with 2,434.26, so you accept that. And for Project B, the net present value was negative 5,262 with 96 cents, and you reject that.